14 rounds of Swiss and 2 days of play to get all the way to this point. Now we've got our semifinalists, and our match is going to be, this is going to be a good one. It's going to be Igor Costa up against Sam Chen. We actually just saw Sam play Gardevoir, won his previous match against a player playing the exact same deck as Igor Costa. It's going to be that Volcanion list that is teched out a little bit to take out exactly what Sam is playing, his Gardevoir list. My name's Cora. You've seen me a lot. But we've got Pablo back again. He's going to actually be with us for the rest of the day today, so we get to close things out. Thank you again for filling in on short notice, but good to have you here as always. Yeah, so Igor versus Sam. What are you going to make of this?
I mean, Igor, just as skilled as Ryan, and we saw Sam take I want to say a narrow win against
I think
Ryan.
that's a good way to put it.
Third game was very decisive for Sam, but Game 2 clearly showed that Ryan had a very real chance in that match. So I'm going to call this a 50-50, and it's going to come down to each player's in-game decisions. Now, Sam did get to go first this time around. However, no natural Bridget this time around. Sam's hand is actually pretty bad, and he might be forced to Sycamore in order to stay in the game, because Bay Volcanion can easily take a knockout on the Ralts, and Sam needs to urgently find another basic Pokemon. And there he throws his hand onto Igor.
You hate to see that happen, but Sam has no other choice. He's forced into this position, and let's see if he can pick up something else to bench here.
Yep, there's another Ralts. He also found Parallel City, so Parallel City could be important in reducing the damage in order to prevent Volcanion from taking a knockout. But Sam drew into Rare Candy and both Sylveons. So, okay, so
that's
Sam
unfortunate.
Choosing to pass the turn. Sorry.
Yeah, no. And they don't want to hear me talk. They're looking to hear you talk, so feel free.
No.
No, he just needs a supporter.
Yeah.
He's looking for draw.
Yeah, and Igor can take an easy knockout here on the Ralts with a DC. Nothing Sam really could have done this the previous turn, and he's gonna struggle next turn. And if he has to Sycamore, that's gonna be 2 Rare Candy that he doesn't have access to anymore. So no more explosive. 2 Rare Candy, Gardevoir, Gallade, setups through Sylveon. Sam really struggling in this early game.
Yeah, you don't want to give up 2 Rare Candy and 2 Sylveon, because then you lose your Sylveon line, you lose your easy access to a couple of Gardevoir. And we've seen Sam really excel at having multiple Gardevoir active at the same time, so he can make great use of Secret Spring, have a backup attacker if that one Gardevoir does get knocked out, which can be very difficult for Volcanion to accomplish, all things considered. But it looks like Sam is going to have a much harder time this game than he did, especially in the third game of his previous series.
Yeah, so no Bridget turn 1, only 2 Pokemon in play, no access to Remedy, not even an Eevee down to maybe find a Sylveon. And if he has to Sycamore away to Sylveon, that means no more Sylveon for Sam either. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Sam scoop this one early enough. We do see Igor went for Ultra Ball Lele into the Lily turn 1. There's a Steam Up, there's Volcanion, there's Turtonator. Igor getting a very explosive turn that Ryan would have really enjoyed to get the previous series.
He would have.
But seems like things are a little bit better for Igor. And it's not that they're playing any differently or Igor is doing something better than Ryan is. It's just Igor found the right cards during his turn.
Yeah, I mean, Igor came into the top 8 cut as first seed. Yeah. He has played phenomenally throughout this entire tournament. I think we saw him on stream twice. I want to say he won both times. So he's had a great weekend. Ralts gets the knockout. Ralts gets knocked out. Volcanion gets the knockout. Sorry, my terminology is still a little bit weak, if you couldn't tell. But we're working on it. But Sam picks up that Lele, so he has access to any supporter that he does want. And the Super Rod coming in very hot for Sam because he needs the Gardevoir and the Ralts back in his deck.
Yeah, so Sam's gonna use Tapu Lele, use Wonder Tag, probably going to find that Bridget, and then search for an Eevee. That way next turn he has access to Sylveon. But I feel like Igor's start was so strong and Sam's was so weak that this might be a double-edged sword for Sam because he sees hope. However, will he ever be able to catch up to Igor? Igor got the ideal start with a baby Volcanion, knocking out a 60 HP Pokemon. That's why they run the Fighting Fury belts as well, not only for the extra HP, because they do add damage no matter what is in front, whereas Choice Band only adds damage against EX Pokemon, or GX Pokemon rather, or both.
In some cases.
So yeah, Igor's bench looking a lot more threatening than Sam's is, and I would be very surprised for Sam to. I mean, it's calling it a bit early, but I don't know. Sam's position is very weak, and he can't even bridge it. He actually has to end. So if he doesn't find another route off of this end to 6, a Tapu Lele facing off against a powered up Turtonator, powered up Volcanion, and a Baby Volcanion, not looking good for Sam.
There's light at the end of the tunnel, like you said, but it is so far away right now. Can he get there? Finds the Guardy, finds some energy.
Oof. So if Sam had hit one of the 2 remaining rare candy, that would have been huge because he would have been able to set up a Gardevoir and then turn things around. However, he's only able to find a Kirlia and an Eevee, but he can't even Magical Ribbon this turn because he cannot attach to Retreat and attach to Evolve into Sylveon. So rough position for Sam.
Yeah, this is just one of those starts. Some games you're not meant to win, Pablo.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I mean, what this could simply lead to, we have a short game 1, and then we once again have plenty of time to see another 2 full games and see both players to their full potential, right? Because Sam, even though he will make the best moves possible, and even if he has a 1% chance to win, he will see that 1% and he will chase it.
Yes.
However, sometimes the cards just don't allow you to really showcase your skill because you simply don't draw the right combination.
And unfortunately, a lot of the time that 1% comes down to your opponent missing something, whether it be not having the energy to steam up, not having the draw to access additional fighting fury belts, whatever it may be. You never want to put yourself in the position where your opponent has to make a mistake for you to take the game. So unfortunately, Sam may be in that position now where Igor's just going to have to whiff a little bit for Sam to be able to have the time to come back. But there is still that possibility. And like you said, if he loses this one, then there are still 2 games left for him to take all the time that he needs potentially to make a comeback in the series.
Yeah, so Sam committed to a Sylveon, so a single energy by Igor, a single steam up, will get the knockout on the Ralt. That's 2 less Ralts Igor has to deal with. Well, one, Sam did shuffle 1 back in with the Suprad, but no threat of Gardevoir. Igor can just keep taking prizes, and he will damage Sylveon, which is, I think, one of the determining factors in the previous series we saw was the fact that Volcanion EX by Ryan was just in front and it wasn't doing anything, whereas Igor has to be able to pressure whatever is in front.
So Igor searching with Ultra Ball. What do you think he wants here? He's got the Turtonator. He's got 2 Volcanion. Oranguru would be a consistent form of draw for him here, maybe looking for that.
Yeah. However, going for Oranguru could force him into an awkward decision if Sam managed to play the Parallel City.
True.
So I guess if you don't find Oranguru right now when you don't really need it just yet, that means it doesn't get discarded.
Yeah, you can't be forced to get rid of it if you don't have it. You'd rather get rid of a second Turtonator that maybe you don't need.
Yeah, and now Igor with an almost powered Volcanion and 2 almost powered Turtonators, so an ideal setup for Igor. 2 prizes ahead. Sam with no Ralts in play, and he could have gotten a Ralts in play the previous turn, but he would have had to discard even more resources. But I generally don't think Sylveon can carry Sam through this game.
No, it just doesn't have the power to be able to get him the knockouts that he needs, but Igor wisely spreading that energy out in case Sam is able to set up a Gardevoir on the bench. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, now, just from that quick look, I tried to pay attention, and I believe Sam only has 1 rare candy left in his deck, so 1 would be prized. And that just, like, getting more than 1 Gardevoir for Sam this game will be impossible.
It's kind of the nail in the coffin.
Yeah. Yeah, and, I mean, I want to say Sam would maybe not consider conceding right now just because he could maybe want to get some information in Igor's list, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure since he knows Igor and Ryan are friends and like it's openly talked about how they're all using the same list, I don't think Sam even needs the intel. So I'm very curious why he's still I don't know doing moves, but I guess he's gonna Magical Ribbon and try to make the best out of it.
Yeah, I mean, with Magical Ribbon, you get that first Gardevoir down, then say you get a knockout on it, get a couple of prize cards, you find that rare candy, you set up the second Gardevoir easily. It's not impossible, it's just very difficult because Igor has all of the equipped attackers on the bench ready to go. Even if you don't get that one-hit KO with the Volcanion, you've got 2 Volcanion on the bench and 2 Turtonator. Over 2 turns, you have everything that you could possibly need to get that knockout.
Yeah, now I guess Parallel is the one way that Sam could come back into this match. If Sylveon survives this turn, then he could Parallel and Plea, which has been quite important in many other matches. And we do see the Guzmat targeting the Ralts, I would assume. Yep. So gonna take the third Ralts knockout, and even if Sam Please now, he was thinking about grabbing a Ralts. I don't think he grabbed it. And there's a Steam Up.
With this Ralts out of play, I'm not seeing it.
And I mean, Igor losing some Pokemon to the Plea or getting them back into his hand, sure that hurts, but he can just immediately play down the Bulks, potentially Steam Up, get more energy into play, and then just threaten the Sylveon. And it'd be a very strong play if Sam had a Gardevoir on the bench, perhaps, to maybe clean up. Like a Gardevoir plus an N would be a really strong play, but he has a Gardevoir, just no Ralts.
Attaches the DCE.
Okay, so there's the end. There's a Parallel, and we're gonna see a Plea, but Igor won't lose the cards. He'll just have to play them down slowly back into play.
Delays for a couple of turns. Maybe give Sam the time to set up one Gardevoir, but Igor will get these cards back down unless Sam has another N and can get them back in Igor's deck.
Now, would Sam, I mean, I guess it depends on what he draws, but he would probably want to put back both Turtonators, perhaps. We see double Field Blower, Gardevoir. There's a, yep, both Turtonators gone. That's because Volcanion does keep the energy, unlike Turtonator, which discards them, so it's easier to knock out, but with no Ralts in play, I generally don't know what Sam can do here.
Now 57 minutes on the clock. So he's probably not feeling too pressured to scoop just yet. Maybe there's a line that he's seeing that could get him out of this, but it's going to take a series of very good draws, perfect draws.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah, so Igor just going for the double Steam Up, prioritizing damage over a second Turtonator presence, and attaching also to a Baby Volcanion. That way he can easily retreat into something to finish the Sylvan off, or he can use Steam Artillery, which is not so common to see, but we did see Ryan use it to great effect, and take the knockout on Sylveon, and putting him down to 1 prize card only. Now Sam does Ultra Ball, goes for the Ralt, so Sam really, really believes in the one Gardevoir he'll be able to get into play. Sam trying to Field Blower away with Fairy Energy, which that's not quite how it works. We see the attachment.
Unfortunately, Fairy Wind does not get rid of your opponent's tool cards.
Then we see an N, which will bring Igor down, but 2 energy gets him a knockout, either by retreating into Volcanion EX or by a Steam Up and a Steam Artillery.
Igor will need an additional knockout after that to win the game. He's at that awkward kind of 3 prize threshold, but with the Ralts on the bench for Sam, Igor has done an excellent job of targeting down those Ralts and knocking them out so far. He could just do it again.
Yep, and Igor did draw Sycamore off of the low card end, which is a dream every time you get into to a few cards. Getting Sycamore you always get a lot of relief. And I believe the other two cards were Field Blower and Ultra Ball, so
Yes, I do
it might
believe
be
so.
Floatstone.
Definitely the Ultra Ball.
Yeah. And I mean, in our previous series, we never saw Parallel CD get removed, but Igor could even do that because he has yet to use up the Field Blower he has.
Igor actually, yes. He just has that one copy of Field Blower.
Yeah.
Sam running 2.
Yeah. Yeah, Sam needs them to remove the Fighting Fury belts. Igor needs them to remove the Parallel CD. And we do see Sam go for... he did manage to bench 2 rolls, and he Magical Ribbon. So Igor actually could have ended Sam out of the cards he just got from Magical Ribbon. So Igor relying on probably a late game Guzma to win this match, because now dealing with a Gardevoir might be a bit difficult.
I mean, this still could, with just one Gardevoir, go in Sam's favor, and that's why he is playing it out, because it is very difficult for Volcanion to get the kill onto the Gardevoir, just because 230 health is a very high threshold for the Volcanion to get to. Turtonator has a bit of an easier time, but it's still going to require multiple energy, multiple steam ups, and limited to that 3 Pokemon bench, it can be very tough.
Yep. Now Igor did find the energy and the Fighting Fury belt necessary in order to prevent or to take the knockout on Sylveon. So Igor, the move he did with the Ultra Ball, discarding the ends and going for Bay Volcanion and discarding it too, he knows it's very likely an end is coming. So he wants his deck as thin as possible. He will probably just need to find a Guzma to maybe finish off the game. Perhaps Guzma and Energy to knock out a Ralts, or maybe the Tapu Lele on the bench. So yeah, Igor making all the right moves, but he is very susceptible to an N-1, which I believe Sam doesn't have.
No, he does not. He played an N just a couple of turns ago. Evolves the route into the Curlia. Sycamore, yep, that is game number 1 over to Igor. Just a bad start for Sam. And Igor had a much better start than we saw Ryan Sablehouse with in that 3rd game of the previous series. So although this is the exact same matchup that Sam just faced, first game goes very differently.
Yeah, now we saw a whole new phase, I would say, of the deck that Ryan and Igor have, just because Igor was able to start with a Baby Volcanion, and that makes a world of difference.
And if that's the case, right, because the last series, Ryan Sablehouse was still very close. That 3rd game, it was a bit of a blowout, but that 2nd game, he took it. That series went all the way to game 3 before Sam finally was able to clinch it in the end. Igor had a decisive victory in game number 1. The enhanced hammer tech, the Fighting Fury belt techs, maybe it's enough. Maybe it's enough for Volcanion to pretty consistently get the win over Gardevoir, especially if you've got a pilot as talented as Igor Costa behind the deck.
Yeah, all those cards you mentioned definitely give the deck a much better chance than it normally would. And I know, because I talked with Sam throughout the day today, that he faced 2 Volcanion decks during Swiss rounds today that did not have the enhanced hammer.
Okay.
And he very confidently beat them both, but as we saw the previous series and just now, even though the enhanced hammers did not do anything this particular game, it does give them that small edge in order to at least bring the matchup to a 50-50, I would say. Now, the previous game, or this game 1, we saw Sam struggle because of the Bridget. So that was at least my logic behind using a second Bridget.
Yes.
It's not only the fact that you prevent pricing issues, because it wasn't that Bridget was priced for Sam. It was just he didn't have access to it early. But you can see how important the Bridget is. And just having an extra copy, even if it adds, or at least to me, even if it adds like a 5% chance for you to start with it naturally, or for you to be able to find it with Ultra Ball and Tapu Lele and whatnot, that's huge. That's really huge, and it makes a world of difference if Gardevoir gets a turn 1 Bridger or not.
That's a really great point, because you have to look at, yes, what is the win rate overall of Guardy versus Volcanion, but then specifically, what is the win rate of Guardy versus Volcanion when Guardy starts Bridget.
Yeah.
Could be significantly higher. So if you have a 5% chance, a 5% increased chance of getting that Bridget for turn 1 by just putting that second copy in your deck, then that could improve your win percentage over Volcanion dramatically over the long run. So I think I tend to agree with you on I like maximizing my odds of having that consistent start as much as possible, especially since the one time that Sam didn't have that turn 1 Bridget, he suffered so dramatically from it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a compromise you have to make between maximizing your odds, are saying, because you could play for Bridget theoretically, but that would be overdoing it because you also have to commit deck space to other necessary cards. So with 4 Ultra Ball, 3 Tapu Lele, and 2 Bridget, that's 9 cards out of 60 in your deck. So almost 1 every 6 cards is a Bridget,
Yeah.
so, or essentially a Bridget. However, I mean, there's always a chance you won't get it, right? And maybe 1 or 2 doesn't make that much of a difference, but it not only helps against Volcanion, it helps in every matchup.
And then there are those games where, you don't hit Bridget and your opponent also doesn't hit a good start, or you hit Bridget and your opponent doesn't hit a good start. So within there, it's not just I have a 1 in 6 to not lose the game. It's I have a 1 in 6 to find this card that fuels my entire game, gives me a decisive game plan going forward. And that's really important for Guardy because you have just that main attacker. Gardevoir GX gets the job done. And then you do have the option for Gallade. You have the option for Sylveon to find you additional cards or to plea GX your opponent's bench back. But you do need to know ahead of time, what am I going to set up for, right? Do I need to find Gallade and use one of these routes early on to get it? Do I need to find Energy Evolution Eevee and try to get a Sylveon out early? Different game plans.
Yeah, so we just saw Sam once again. It looks like he's getting a bit nervous. He Ultra Balled for 3 basic Pokemon, so he got ahead of himself. He did go for the Tapu Lele,
then the
Bridget,
Bridget,
then the Bridget,
yes.
and then the 3 basic. So, and he even mimicked as if he was shuffling, but Igor then was like, "Well, how are you getting those 3 basic Pokemon?" And excuse me. So.
Yeah, just getting a little bit ahead of himself. Long days, too. I'm sure he's probably pretty tired by now. I can't imagine playing 9 rounds of Swiss in a single day like you guys do. That's crazy. That is so much.
Yesterday, it was 14 hours of Pokemon, and then,
Wow.
like, these players have played 15 matches. This is their 16th match of Pokemon. Best of 3 within 2 days. So that's potentially, 48 total games of Pokemon in 24 hours, a little over 24 hours.
That is so much time that you need to focus as much as possible and exert so much brain power into, going really 100 miles a minute. And it catches up to you. It gets to you. And if you get a little bit ahead of yourself, Sam knows where this turn is going. He knows he's going to end up with these basics on the bench and the Lele searching for the Bridget. But you need to back up. 2 steps back and take all the necessary steps to get there.
Now, I believe Sam might benefit a little from having started Tapu Lele just because Baby Volcanion cannot easily knock it out as if it were an Eevee, a Remoraid, or even a Ralt.
Yeah.
So Igor did start Baby Volcanion once again, which is obviously ideal. And he has a pretty good hand because he has the luxury to afford to discard Professor Sycamore. However, he's not going to get that explosive 1 prize, 2 prize, 3 prize in consecutive turns. He's going to deal some damage to Tapu Lele, I'm sure. But then Sam can easily retreat into the Sylveon and then start Magical Ribboning without giving up any prize cards.
That's important. I mean, Igor is going to naturally go up on prize cards before Sam. But if Sam can delay that just a couple of turns, then he has that much more time to set up, and his ends will be very powerful in the late game once Igor has picked up those initial prizes off of whether it be a Lele or a Routes that he Guzmas out like he did in the last game. It's just nice for Sam, no matter how you cut it, to have a couple more turns before that happens, before he really feels the pressure mounting and has to start figuring out, how do I get these Yardies up? How do I attach energy? What do I need to kill right now? Nice to have time.
Yeah, it's very different to start off a game 6 against 6 and prizes when your Gardevoir starts attacking or when Sylveon starts using Magical Ribbon than being behind 1, 2, or even 3 prizes like we saw the previous game. Now, Igor did find an N, however, so that's really good for him because he doesn't have to discard valuable resources he might have had to discard with Sycamore. So I'm not entirely sure what he shuffled back in, but he deemed it so important that he chose to use N over Sycamore. And usually you don't mind too much discarding things like energy because you'll get them back with Volcanion, but Igor had some really, really useful cards, and looks like he whiffs an energy, so no damage on Tapu Lele, and that's huge.
That's big. This is the first time we've actually seen Igor not hit an energy. I think pretty much every Max Elixir he's gotten it. He's had all of his available Steam Ups.
Yeah.
He's been making this deck look like the reach is easy. Like you have access to all 15 fire energy whenever you need it. But there is a failure rate.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not going to have them. Maybe you prize, 2 or 3 energy, and then suddenly your percentages are way down.
Yeah, so 15 energy does seem like a lot, but it's not guaranteed that you'll have energy every time. And Sam discards the DC to retreat, which was his only energy, but it's also important because it makes Igor's Enhanced Hammers less effective, right?
Yeah.
Igor ideally wants to discard energy with Enhanced Hammer in order to prevent a knockout, or when Sam attaches one and doesn't immediately get a knockout with it. And now Sam is going to Magical Ribbon. I'm sure he's gonna try to set up the Gardevoirs, and he had to bench a second Tapu Lele in order to use Bridget. He started one, so Octillery might be available to him, but he simply couldn't afford to play with only 2 Ralts. I'm not sure. There's the Octillery, but maybe Remoraid is priced. I'm not entirely sure.
It would be just Sam's luck. He had prized one of that line in the first game. In the second game, it was killed very early. In the third game, he couldn't get both pieces together. It's just not panned out for him in his last series or in this one so far.
Yeah. Sam, Magical Ribbon is very strong, and Igor, because he didn't get any energy, I believe his hand is full of supporters, so his field presence is nowhere near what he had the previous game. So even though Octillery might be priced for Sam, or Remoraid at least, Igor's not putting any pressure on him. So if Igor is forced to discard with Sycamore the Field Blower, he won't have a counter to the Parallel City. He also has 2 Guzma in hand, I believe. So that's 2 less Guzma he might have access to knock out Ralts and stuff. So yeah.
Being forced to Sycamore here for Igor would be potentially very detrimental to his overall game plan, right? In the last game, he was able to Guzma up those routes early on, get the knockouts. He can put them in the active this game. He doesn't have the energy to knock him out. So he is going to try and put Sam on having a float stone or energy to retreat the Lele and get the Sylveon back in the active to be able to use Magical Ribbon again. This was a Guzma purely for stall.
Yeah, Igor's hand, instead of discarding the Guzmas, he figured he might as well get some use out of them, and we see the double rare candy for Sam and a Kirlia drop. So yeah, now Sam's field is looking very strong. The only thing missing would be the Octillery, but I don't think he's too sad about that.
He's got Premonition now, so if within the first 5 cards of his deck, he can find a supporter, he can put it on top every turn and ensure that he does have some consistent draw, or, if he needs energy, if he needs a specific Pokemon like a Gardevoir, whatever it may be, Premonition will make that job easier, even if you don't have the Octillery. So you'd like to have both, but having Premonition is better than having nothing.
Now, Sam did use a Guzma. He didn't have energy to retreat, but he did have a Guzma, so he gets to Magical Ribbon. And Igor's stall tactic definitely doesn't work. And I think Igor's start is not great. I would assume he's not going to get close to winning this match, just because Sam now has a very strong field, and Igor's is very weak with no energy in play. And this is turn 3, where you would expect Volcanion to have like 8 energy in play.
You would expect to have multiple Volcanion with energy in
Yeah.
play. No, this one definitely not going Igor's way, but that's why it's best out of 3. We've still got 40 minutes on the clock. It does look like Sam has the tools that he needs to take this one, but if that is the case, Igor will have plenty of time to try to take game number 3, put himself in the finals.
Well,
But same goes for Sam.
yeah. Now, you know what? We see there's 40 minutes left on the clock. So Sam most likely favored in this particular game. However, it will still take time for him to get going, to get the knockouts
Yes.
on the Volcanions and stuff. And so the clock will run down.
Maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10,
perhaps
15,
even more.
perhaps 20. And so Igor, under, I guess, normal conditions, should be ahead, right? On a normal game 3, he should be ahead. He has the more aggressive deck. He has only basic Pokemon.
Yes.
All of them do a lot of damage really quickly. And Sam is a setup deck. So even if the clock runs down, and even if Igor ends up losing this match, with like 10, 15 minutes left for a game 3 to play, Igor doesn't care if the game finishes or not. He only cares if he's ahead.
Because he'll get his prize faster.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, that's a way to play out the match. I mean, under these circumstances, if this was game 1, I would even think Igor might consider conceding. But in this particular scenario,
He's up.
the longer the game goes on, the better for Igor. Not only because if the game doesn't finish, Igor is declared the winner of the match, but also because with a more aggressive deck, you don't mind playing a quick game and drawing 1 or 2 quick prizes, and then you end up being the winner.
So Sam may try to play this one just a little bit faster. If he's got some obvious actions, attacks that he's going to know he wants to play ahead of time, we may see them be made a little bit quicker. But we have also seen Sam, when he plays quickly, make some kind of silly mistakes, taking 2 prizes when he should only take 1. Putting 3 Pokemon on the bench from an Ultra Ball and forgetting to get Tapu Lele and then Bridget. It's just little things that he's overlooking because he's almost going too quickly. Not detrimental mistakes, not game-altering mistakes, but still something to keep in mind. So, second Gardevoir can be used here for Secret Spring. The first one tapped because Sam has made some use of it.
Yep. Used its ability, and Sam does get 6 cards off of the end, as does Igor. However, I mean, the Floatstone there indicates Sam wants to have his deck as thin as possible from potential ends by Igor. Also gets the Sylveon ready to retreat when needed. And we're going to see another Magical Ribbon. But yeah, Sam, I can definitely see how he's playing just a little bit faster because he knows time is of the essence, and in a short amount of time for a game 3, he's definitely not favored there. Like, even if the match is 50-50 in a full game, in a short game where it comes down to who draws the first 2 prizes, well, you're never at an advantage with a deck such as Gardevoir.
So, what is Sam looking for here? A DCE or a couple of them would be very nice off of the Magical Ribbon. He takes 3. We'll have to wait and see exactly what he's gotten.
Yeah, so with the Choice Band and the Fairy Energy on the one Gardevoir, I would assume he's going to have to go aggressive with a DC, a Guzma, and maybe another Fairy Energy to try to get a knockout on the Volcanion, get some quick knockouts that way, and try to win this match as quickly as possible. And
he might have gone for a Field Blower, or may have just had one in hand as well. There's Fairy, DCE in the back.
I mean, maybe he just wants to target the Volcanion. Maybe he wants to get rid of that. But
that's the energy engine, so that would make sense.
Yeah, so I think both KOs are okay. If you really want to win the match as quickly as possible, I think going after the Volcanion could possibly be the right play. But the second energy on the Volcanion is Igor preparing for that. He knows I'm not sure if he can prevent the Magical Ribbon from happening. It looks like he's going to Sycamore. So he knows that if he loses the bench Volcanion, at least he has the active Bay Volcanion more powered up. Or if he loses the active, then he will have a backup Volcanion EX.
Did Igor whiff energy on his 7? It looks like he did.
Yeah, he does have an elixir and he does have a Turtonator, but no energy. So I'm not sure if he used team up already or not, but only attacking for 30 damage would be very weak. The max elixir does hit, so that's a good thing for Igor, but does he even have energy in the discard pile? I'm not quite sure. If he doesn't get to attach energy with power here and only deals 30 damage, that would be a very weak turn for him.
Especially since the Volcanion EX on the bench only has 1 energy on it. It's not as though it has 2, and Igor can equip from hand to access Volcanic Heat. He's going to need 2 more turns of that. Finds the Oranguru.
He also has a Fighting Fury belt, which he was debating on attaching, but he chooses not to. He does have energy in the discard pile, so
Okay, there's 2.
So at least he... Oh, and apparently he did use team up. Never mind. Sam pointing to Oranguru, telling Igor to attach there. And
trying to get in your opponent's head a little bit.
yeah. And like
Don't
both
you wanna
players
put
know
some
each
energy
other.
on that monkey?
Yeah, and both players know each other, so even though this is like a very high prestige match,
Yeah.
like these two guys are friends, they know each other, and they're having fun, right? It's a part of being here. It's all about having fun.
When it comes down to it at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you're playing a game. It's a game with very high stakes and potentially a very high reward,
Yeah.
and it's a game. Gotta have a good time while you're doing it. Gotta respect your opponent.
We see the field blower get rid of the floatstone and the Fighting Fury belt, so pretty good for Sam not to... I mean, pretty good for Igor not to attach the second Fighting Fury belt, because the floatstone is not too impactful, but the Fighting Fury belts definitely are. And we're going to see a knockout on the Bay Volcanion with Gallade, so that's really good for Sam to get a good price trade, and just because it's a non-GX attacker.
Sam was looking like he wanted to put that floatstone on the Lele before he decided not to. Ultimately, would rather have it in deck for him to be able to draw and make better use of.
Yeah, so having both of them means they're susceptible to Igor's field blower, and also if he's not getting an immediate use out of the floatstone, he might as well keep it in the deck in case he ever needs to conserve energy by not discarding when retreating, or perhaps Igor goes for a Guzma stall tactic like we saw in the beginning of the match, and that gives Sam an immediate out to not getting something stuck in the active spot, which he might not want.
So Sam using Premonition, looking at the top 5 of his deck, putting them back in any order that he wants. Important because he doesn't have Octillery set up. Can't draw additional cards every turn with Abyssal Hand.
Yeah, no. Wish we had seen what he put up at the top, but I guess we'll find out next turn. And finally, the first KO taken in this match. And I guess if Game 3 played out similar to this one, then Sam would have the advantage when deciding who ends up being the winner. Now, Oranguru promoted probably means Igor either has a floatstone or he's gonna try to get a knockout here by using Guzma, and if he knocks out with Turtonator the powered up Gardevoir, that would be pretty huge. But Igor still needs Fighting Fury belts and 3 fire energy, 2 for steam ups, and another Volcanion EX, so that's really difficult. Elixir does potentially find him one of those, but he actually whiffs, so...
Wow. Whiffed on the draw from the Sycamore, whiffs on the Elixir. What is going on here? Looks like 2 in the discard for Igor. 6 equipped. Still 7 in deck, potentially, if none of them are prized. He may be looking at several Fire Energy prized this game.
Yeah, so powering up the Lele is very interesting. He might be assuming he's not going to get a 1-hit KO on a Gardevoir, and so he needs the follow-up Tapu Lele knockout. He might also, he might have wanted to try to get a knockout with Tapu Lele on the Sylveon, which is exactly what we're seeing. He does have the energy in his hand to be able to deal the 80 damage remaining he needs, but I'm pretty sure he really wanted the Elixir to hit.
Make this a little bit easier, not have to give up the energy.
Now, he does have access to Oranguru still, so that's really good for him too. He has an energy in his hand, so I'd be... Oh, wow. He actually chooses to instruct first before attaching. Did he already attach? No, I believe the only energy in play we saw was from the elixir.
He must have.
I'm pretty sure that was not a knockout. Sylvan had 1 energy, right? And Tabulele only has 2?
And then Sylveon was had 120 on it, needed 80. That would
more.
have been
Yeah,
60.
that's not a knockout. That is not a knockout. Sylveon had a
With only the 1
damage
energy on it,
Yeah.
Tapu Lele does not get the knockout. You can't steam up non-fire attacks. Yeah.
Wow, so big mistake by...
I'm just assuming that it's...
by
Oh, my goodness.
Igor. Yeah.
I mean, did Igor declare the attack?
I mean,
Is-
based on the actions that just happened, and
I
by
would
Sam
assume yes.
Yeah, so... I mean... Yeah, and Igor just took the 2 prize cards,
Oh.
and so he knows what they are. Oof, this could get very messy.
Oh, no.
And yeah,
Yep.
so we knew Igor had the energy in his hand. We saw it before, so the other energy was definitely one of the prizes he picked up. That's a really big mistake by Igor.
Wow.
Really big mistake.
This is where things get sketchy. We were saying that Sam was prone to getting a little bit ahead of himself when he was feeling the pressure. Now, Igor doing the same.
Yeah, Igor doing the same, but you know what? Sam, assuming Igor will always make the best play, he just assumed he was getting knocked out.
Just
right?
takes him at face value.
Like, because Sam did not catch the fact that he wasn't getting knocked out. He immediately discarded the Sylveon. Sam already knew he was getting the Sylveon knocked out, so he discarded it. But so both players did not notice that Igor was 1 energy short, and yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if Igor gets penalized for this, because they did announce at the beginning of the tournament that they were going to get very
cracking down.
Yeah, cracking down on players who got to see extra cards or had extra information that they should not have. And Igor just saw 2 prizes, which he probably already knew what was priced anyways, because that's what the top players do in the beginning of their matches. However,
you don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
Right? You can't know that he had the information that Fighting Fury Belt and Fire Energy were prized, but now he for sure knows.
Yeah.
So how exactly do we deal with that? We're still getting a ruling. Do they usually stop the clock for these types of rulings?
Yeah, so how it usually works is if a decision or if something happens that takes, I believe, more than 3 minutes, then a time extension is issued.
Okay.
And we do see next to Sam that the Master's head judge is sitting right there, so I'm sure she will give an appropriate time extension if she considers it necessary. But yeah, this is pretty big.
This is unexpected.
And what we could see, however, is something like a prize penalty. Just because we're in the top 4, the stakes are very high.
Yeah.
The expectations in regards to the players and their mechanics and what they're doing and cracking down, as you mentioned, on small errors or things like that, does get very meticulous at this stage of the tournament.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Igor has had any warnings issued previously or things like that. We don't have
if this is the first time it's
history,
happened, or if he's prone to things like this. I would hedge my bets and say no, because he is. I mean, he's consistently a top tier player. I would go ahead and give him the benefit of the doubt. Honest mistake in this case.
Yeah. So let me exemplify with what happened to me earlier today.
Yeah. We got time. Feel free.
Yeah. So during my my second to last round in day 2, I mistakenly, of course, played a second supporter card. Okay, so I played a Guzma, and then I played a Sycamore. Before I drew my cards, or I had drawn a few cards, and I had looked at them, and then my opponent correctly pointed out that I had already used Guzma. So the first judge that came around, he issued a prize penalty to me because I had seen the cards. Okay. Because I had used the second supporter and seen the cards. However, another judge came by as I appealed, and because I had not received a single caution or warning throughout the tournament, he decreased it to only a warning. So
Okay.
your history throughout the tournament
They take it
does
into
matter
account.
into deciding what happens next. And so they might be checking right now what's going on with Igor, if he had like a warning or a caution
Yeah.
in the previous rounds.
Because you never want to assume that there's malicious intent
Yeah.
behind any of it. I mean, it's an honest mistake to make. Gardevoir does 30 per or 30 per energy. Energy Drive only does 20. Sometimes you get a little bit caught up. You don't see that there's only one energy attached. For whatever reason it may be, you don't want to assume malicious intent. But if you do get careless multiple times, they start to see a pattern emerging.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to learn your lesson at some point. So I do like that they give the benefit of the doubt in some cases, but they don't want you to make a habit of it.
Yeah. So Igor is shuffling his prizes now, and he's pointing to Oranguru. So I'm going to assume that he's saying, "Oh, I had the energy and I could have attached it, and I could have even drawn an extra card off of Oranguru," because that was very peculiar to me. Why he wasn't attaching the energy
if he just
and drawing an extra card with Oranguru? Why he was holding that energy back?
Yes, he must have just thought that he had the energy equipped.
Yeah.
Like the lines that he took exhibit the fact that he thought that there was enough energy he did not have to equip and could take the prize cards without committing that extra energy and instructing for 3. So he could have gotten the knockout. He had the 80 damage available with the energy in hand to equip, but it does look like that the attack will be declared.
Yep.
There will be no penalty given as far as prize penalty, but now 180 damage on the Sylveon, so the knockout did not occur,
Yep.
and Igor then did not get to attach an energy that turn.
Yeah, so I believe there could have been like not a gentleman's agreement, but something like Igor could have asked if Sam would let him take the attack back and let him attach the energy. However, yeah. Okay, so we were just informed that the match was given, in fact, a 5-minute time extension. So because the delay did take more than 3 minutes, that's how the official ruling works.
Very fair.
And yeah, Igor and Sam just laughing, and yeah, like I know the two guys as well, and I would put my hands in fire and tell you that there was no malicious intent by Igor. It was just a simple mistake where after 2 grueling days of
so
many
brain.
top level matches, especially day 2, these things tend to happen, and it happens to everyone. It happened right now to Igor. It can happen to Sam. It can happen to pretty much anyone.
And a lot of the time, they can go back and look at if similar situations have happened, how did they resolve it, then use past as a precedent for what to do now. And that automatically means that it's happened before. It's probably going to happen again. Unfortunate that it happened to Igor, especially in semifinals. But, be a little bit more careful next time. Yeah. He's going to be fine. I don't think that this was going to be his game to win necessarily anyway, because there are the 2 Guardies set up, although he was making it definitely closer with that Oranguru on the board and the fully powered up Turtonator with the additional 40 hit points from the Fighting Fury belt there.
Yeah, so what this, like, not getting the knockout for Igor does mean that he has to use another attack, so essentially he needs another extra turn to eventually win this match if he was ever going to win it. And yeah, those 2 prizes he did not take probably means the comeback. I mean, it might not be out of the question, but I would say the probabilities of him pulling it off went way down after he did that. And he's going to stubbornly go after the Sylveon, and he's going to take the knockout with Shell Trap, which might actually not be such a bad idea, just because he doesn't have a way to increase damage output with Volcanion EX. So if Sam attacks into the Turtonator and receives the 80 damage and doesn't get a knockout somehow, we could see Tapu Lele finishing off the Gardevoir.
So Igor does have the setup to take down the first Gardevoir, and Sam doesn't have any energy equipped to that second one, but he nonetheless looks like he's going to have to go for the knockout on this Turtonator and just hope that there's not enough for Igor to get the kill behind it. But when Guardy's powering itself up, Energy Drive on the Tapu Lele is automatically powered up as well. So if Sam knocks out this Turtonator, Igor gets the kill on the Guardy, and Sam is able to then bring out his own second Gardevoir, get the kill, or that Gallade and get the kill, then Sam will just have this game in the bag.
Okay, so right now, Sam's win condition is to find a Guzma to knock out the Oranguru. So actually having the Oranguru in play might end up hurting him. He does have a Tapu Lele in hand, I believe, so that should find him the game-winning Guzma. And yeah, Tapu Lele needs, once again, an energy in order to finish off the Gardevoir, which will attack into the Turtonator. Gardevoir, yep, should have 80 damage on it, and Igor needs 1 energy to finish off with Lele, but then the Gardevoir with the bench Gardevoir with a single fairy can finish off Lele, or a Guzma can finish off the Oranguru with Gallade. So Sam has a lot of win conditions here, and he did use Premonition as well, which gives him probably the cards he needs. However, Igor will play down as many cards as possible here in order to give himself the best chance at winning.
Yep, Igor just needs 10 damage on that Tapu Lele to get the knockout. You can also bring up the Turtonator, I suppose, and get the kill with that and then save the Tapu Lele because the Turtonator will be more resilient after it uses its secondary attack, discards 2 energy. Then Sam's Gardevoir would not be able to get that retaliation knockout.
Yeah, so Igor was able to power up the Turtonator, which is pretty big, and he will be able to end Sam to 1 card. So even though Sam has Premonition, it might take him a while to find a supporter or find an energy he needs to finish off the Turtonator.
Yeah.
And Igor does have Instruct for Oranguru. He has a knockout right here, and he still has Nitro Tank GX to potentially power up another threat on the bench and finish off the game. So actually,
throw 5
Igor
energy
not
on
out
that
of it yet.
Lele.
Yeah.
Get him.
Oof, and he even finds an Enhanced Hammer, delaying Sam even more.
Okay, but there's still a DCE, I believe, equipped to the Gallade on deck for Sam.
Okay, so
how is this one working out?
The Enhanced Hammer might actually change Igor's decision to take a knockout with Turtonator because he got the Fighting Fury belt, so that was the 10 damage he needed. And the Gardevoir is no longer as big of a threat, the benched one at least. And now Turtonator is powered up, and he only needs Fighting Fury belt to KO the benched Lele and a Guzma, or a Volcanion with a Steam Up gets Igor the last 2 prizes he needs. So this game just got really interesting really fast.
So tense. Okay, but Sam just needs that 1 single prize card, I believe. He's got the DCE on the Gallade. Can he find a way to bring up this Oranguru and get the knockout? He would need a Guzma.
Yeah, no.
Does he have one?
I'm pretty sure either if he had it, he would have played it already.
Yeah.
So promoting the Gardevoir means he doesn't have it.
Oof.
Gardevoir is the Pokemon with the highest HP. He will use Premonition, and we do see Octillery up there, and we see Sycamore, we see
Fairy Energy.
Fairy Gardevoir GX, I believe. I couldn't see the last card. I want to say it was Guzma, but
he has ways to draw for what he needs.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, if he's got the Guzma, it's just
he passes.
It's the knockout on. Oh my
so
goodness.
Does Igor have the win here? Does he have Guzma Fighting Fury belt or Guzma Volcanion and energy? He has the Guzma. I see the Guzma in his hand, and he has a lot of fire energy, but he does not
have the Volcanion.
Yeah.
Can he discard enough to be able to instruct?
I don't think he can. I think Igor has a very tough decision to make here. Does he go after the Gallade with the Turtonator? I don't think you can do that.
You got to take the 2 prizes. It has to be the Lele, right?
Yeah. So Igor has 3 fires, I believe. Bay, Volcanion, and Guzma. So.
Yeah.
Is it Sycamore or Guzma? Now I doubt it myself.
I think it is the Guzma.
Oh,
Tough to see. You get it in short glimpses. But I do think it is.
And you know what? If Igor pulls this one off, despite his super slow start, I'm gonna say it was the lack of artillery that made Sam struggle so much this game, and that allowed Igor to make the comeback. And yeah, we do see the Guzma. Igor is considering playing the Guzma. Another play Igor could do is take a knockout on the Remoraid with Tapu Lele. That's what he could do here. Yeah, Sycamore, 3 fires and Guzma. See the Guzma on the Gallade. So Igor playing it super safe. Attaches to the Turtonator and takes a prize card on the Gallade. The one Pokemon that could knock out his Oranguru.
Okay, so he's just trying to shut off all avenues that Sam could possibly have to win this game, and now he just needs one more Fire Energy to Bright Flame again. But it's not going to be a knockout on the Lele or the Gardevoir unless he's got an additional Fighting Fury belt. Then he can get the Lele. So he would need to bring up the Octillery to get the knockout with just the Bright Flame.
Yep. Now, it's going to come down to can Igor find the Guzma, and he doesn't have it right now. He has Fighting Fury belt, he has Fire Energies, he has a Baby Volcanion, I believe, but no Guzma.
Sam goes for the Ultra Ball. What is he looking for?
Sam already used Abyssal Hand, so...
I don't think there's anything... I think the only Pokemon left are a Gardevoir. He's got the Lele.
Yeah.
And an Energy Evolution Eevee. Yeah, he can go for the N, but they're both going to 1.
Yeah, and N to 1 means Sam gets to attack the Turtonator and does put a lot of pressure on Igor. I think it's gonna come down to an energy and Guzma for Igor to win this match, and he does have plenty of energy, and he does have Oranguru as well. And yep, there's the end to 1 for both players. So really interesting match here.
It's a desperation strategy.
Oh boy, this is really down to the wire. Really down to the wire. Sam does turn around the Gardevoir and the Octillery to show that he has already played or used their abilities. Sam has the 3 Lele's in play, so finding a Lele for the game-winning Guzma is not an option. He's going to deal 90 damage to Turtonator, so he's going to need an extra energy to get the knockout on the Turtonator. What does Igor draw here?
Even still, he'll have Instruct for 2 more cards.
Yeah.
So he'll have access to 3 cards, potentially 4 if he can play this card.
Yep. What's the card he drew? I believe it's a Pokemon. Oh, we see Sam's only card is Parallel City, so he could potentially, instead of limiting...
reduce damage.
Yeah, reducing damage would mean that... I mean, Octillery still goes down. It still comes down to a Guzma. But maybe it takes some outs for Volcanion EX plus Team Up. And yeah, we do see Sam reducing damage output for Igor. And he will attack for 90 damage. So this coming down to the wire. Igor finds 2 Volcanion EXs off of the end. So he's going to instruct for 3. He's smiling. He knows this is super close. And
can he find a couple of energy? Can he find the Guzma?
The judge is pointing something out. Probably telling Sam to stop playing with the GX counter.
Okay.
Okay, so Igor finds the field blower to get rid of that.
It's a Sycamore.
It's a Sycamore.
Goodness.
So Igor first counting his deck to make sure he doesn't lose by deck out. He's gonna draw 7.
He's got a couple of cards left. Finds 1 fire, finds 2 fire, can attach. That's Bright Flame. That's 1 Steam Up. It's only 190.
Yeah, it's not enough. It's definitely not enough. So Igor might need to retreat here in order to prevent himself from losing. But I think Igor just whiffed his only chance of winning this match.
It was so close.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. He had 4 draws for it. 5 if you count the end card.
Yeah. I guess Igor could retreat into Tapu Lele to hit the Gardevoir, but that would imply discarding all the energy on Turtonator. So,
The Tapu Lele does have 210. Right now, Turtonator's still only at 190, so it is the more resilient. Gonna Ultra Ball. What is he going for here? See, I'm checking Igor's discard pile. Seeing a lot of energy.
Yeah. Igor looking through his 4-card deck, I believe. I guess Super Rod is an out for Igor.
It's a lot easier to shuffle when your deck only has 3 cards in it.
Yeah. Okay, so, oof. Where does the energy go? Oh, to Turtonator. Okay. So
What if he...
I'm pretty sure he's gonna retreat.
Yeah.
No, he goes for the 170. So it comes down to Sam drawing DCE or 2 Fairy Energy. It comes down to that. We see a Float Stone.
Attach and draw 5.
Yep. So can Sam pull this off?
Ultra Ball,
There's
Sycamore,
a Sycamore,
Field Blower, and another
2
Sycamore. So he gets another 7.
Yep. And he's gonna first make sure he grabs a Pokemon from his deck to reduce. Yep.
See what you've got left.
See what you've got left, and also make sure that it's 1 less card. Every card less you have in your deck that's not an energy means a greater chance of drawing the energy you do need. So we do see there's 2 Fairy Energy left only in the deck. So Sam, there's a a Choice Band as well. So
Okay.
Sam has
So he can hit 2
3
Fairy
outs.
or a Fairy and a Choice Band.
Yeah, so off of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe 9 cards in his deck, Sam needs to hit 2. So as long as the
And he's
bottom
drawing
2,
7.
yeah, as long as the bottom 2 are not 2 energy or
Choice
energy
Band,
or Choice Band,
energy.
he should have the game. This is really coming down to the wire, and we do see there's 15 minutes left on the clock.
Oh, man.
So game 3 could happen while we were talking about. This game 2 took way longer than we expected, and I don't think Igor will mind. I mean, he was very close to winning this
Choice
particular
Band.
match. Ooh, Sam, careful there.
Where's the energy, Sam?
Oh, did he not get it? He did
Oh
not get a Fairy Energy. Oh, he had 10 cards. The bottom
Okay. The bottom 3 is 2 energy.
No way.
No. What does he do?
I don't think he can do anything, but I mean, he could use his GX attack to put a lot of energy back, but that's really unfortunate for Sam. Really unfortunate. And we see the Super Rod in his hand, but that's not an energy. That gets you energy, but he has no way to draw cards right now from his deck.
He had it. He had it and he lost it.
Can Igor retreat the Turtonator?
He needs a Float Stone to do that, or a Guzma, but if he's got a Guzma, he just wins the game. With 1 energy.
With 1 energy,
because he can target the routes.
Yep. Well, I guess Sam can evolve Rare Candy Gardevoir. The routes got played this turn? Or no, I'm actually not sure.
I don't know.
Okay, so Super Rod putting back 3 energy. So Sam knows he whiffed. Now Sam's deck is 6 cards, of which 5 are Fairy Energy. Does Igor have the game-winning cards? The game-winning cards would be Gardevoir has 160 damage, so 70 HP remaining. How does Igor deal 70 HP? And yep, we see another 90 damage. So
oh my goodness, this is
we see the energy
coming down to the freaking
Sycamore,
wire. There's the switch
and a Fighting Fury belt for
There's
90 damage, and Igor wins the match. Look at Sam's deck. Look at Sam's deck. His last prize was a Fairy Energy. His deck had 2 Fairy Energy left after the Sycamore, then 5 Fairy Energy, and you can see by Sam's expression he's not happy about that.
Pablo,
he's
that was
not happy.
That was insanity.
Yeah.
He had 10 cards left. 2 Choice Band and 2 Fairy Energy. He needed to hit 2 of those 3, and both Fairy Energy were in the bottom 3.
I mean,
if you're Sam right now, you are probably not too happy about that, but who knows what would have happened in game number 3. We were down to such little time on the clock. There was not a good chance that that one actually finished up. So no telling there how this would have ended if Sam was able to get that one. But with 1 Fairy Energy, he would have had that one.
He would have had a chance, you know? Like, he would be playing game 3 right now instead of signing the match slip.
Yeah, but got to give it to Igor.
Yeah.
He is a master of Volcanion, and though we saw him slipping up a little bit in there, maybe getting a little bit clumsy, a little bit ahead of himself, it ultimately did not affect the result of this series for him, and he's going to the finals. And if the intel that I have heard is correct, I think we're going to have a Greninja versus Volcanion finals.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's Michael Long versus Igor Costa, but we'll find out for sure
for you guys.
We will confirm. But that would be pretty fantastic to see. But that is it for our semifinals. We've got our finals coming up next. Don't go anywhere, guys. 2 days of play has come down to this, and you're not going to want to miss it.